Right then, welcome to Happy Hungry Hibby. Yes, what we're going to cover this week is back to fermentation. I've been doing so many fermented and also pickled recipes. Please do check out my playlist. Also put your comments below for things that you're doing and also some feedback on some inspiration that you found from my channel. It'd be really interesting. What am I doing? Well, of course, I've forever doing my water kefir, and I basically recycle this every 5 days, probably 4 to 5 days. You can see here, these are the water grains, and I've got some raisins in here, but also some dehydrated figs. Dehydrated fruits is a really good. Check out my video there where I've shown you how to do figs and various different things, which is really good for water kefir actually, at your first stage fermentation. Also check out a recipe for water kefir and how to do that. So yes, once you've done this, after 4 to 5 days, you basically transfer this into a bottle here. It's naturally sparkling. This has been in the fridge and it's absolutely fantastic. What I've done here is the second stage fermentation. I've just basically added some elderflower syrup, which I've made lots of this year. In June, I foraged lots of elderflowers, and here is the elderflower syrup. Check out the recipe too. I've done that. Done this today, which is basically getting some summer berries, raspberries and blackberries, and basically infusing that in some honey. This is just basically 5 to 7 days of a quick fermentation. That was inspired from this cookbook, which is the absolutely brilliant Fermentation by Rachel DeFampo. And there is the recipe there, where the summer pudding jam fermented with honey. Brilliant. And that's really good for basically, you know, whether it's for breakfast, you're just using some of the fruit, but then it'll basically water down, the honey will water down as well. So I'll come back and show you that recipe. Also, I've been fermenting some limes. I'm going to start using these in some recipes as well. And it's pretty much just like a preserved lemon, but preserved lime, obviously. These are absolutely amazing. You can actually blend these and add them in as you would normally, but you've got so much more depth of flavour because they've been that fermentation process through the time and the age. This is really popular now. You can buy preserved lemons from supermarkets, like particularly the Balazzi range, and they can be quite expensive. So great, much better to do yourself. Also, what I'm doing right now is actually making some hibiscus syrup. So all I've done here is basically infuse a few organic hibiscus tea bags into some boiling water and allow that to infuse for at least 3 to 5 hours really. And then once that's done, you basically add equal part sugar or date sugar, coconut sugar, whatever you prefer, and basically you add equal amounts of sugar, a 1-to-1 ratio, and then basically you can then add that into any form of bottle for storage. And here I've labelled this up, hibiscus syrup. That is then really good for your water kefir, also great in cocktails and also other recipes, whether you're going to use it in something like a pickled red onion. I've covered a recipe there from Ottolenghi's flavour cookbook. That is absolutely amazing. But as for today, it's now August, it's really hot, and it's a great time to ferment because you've got a really good room temperature of about 28 degrees naturally, and that's perfect for bacteria to multiply. The good bacteria, of course. And yes, what I've got is some Chinese leaf, and I've been looking at a recipe to cover from a couple of really good cookbooks, really good new cookbooks, and I'm really looking forward to doing a top 5 of my favourite fermentation books. So do check out this space. But these two are absolutely brilliant. So yeah, you can use cabbage in so many different recipes, whether it be sauerkraut or kimchi. But I've been looking through some of these books. Do check out my review of this. I've done a really good review by Sam Cooper, The Fermentation Kitchen. Really good. There's about 4 really good recipes in here, but really inspired by the new Kenji Morimoto book, Ferment, Simple Ferments and Pickles and How to Eat Them. I've also done a review of this book and covered a recipe. And what really is good about this book is that it gives you some great recipes and how to use your ferments to make various dishes. And the recipe I'm going to cover today is something rather extraordinary. It is a very multicultural recipe, and that's what I like about this book as well. And it is going to be the Garam Masala Sauerkraut. Absolutely amazing. So it says in this book you need about 800, but I've got 600 grams of the Chinese leaf cabbage here, so I'm just gonna have to adjust the recipe by 25%. So yes, What ingredients do I need? I'm going to put these down here so you can see, and also the quantities as well. I'm also going to put that down in my description below. Also interesting to know what your favourite sauerkraut and kimchi recipes are. Please put your comment below. 3 basic vegetables, of course, your cabbage, and this is the Chinese leaf cabbage, a red onion, mild or even a hot red chili, whatever you prefer. Ideally need 2 of these, but I'm just going to use 1. Then you need obviously your salt, and I'm actually using some of this amazing sea salt from Helen Mon, which is an absolutely fantastic company within Anglesey actually, which is North Wales. I've actually visited there a few times now. It's an absolutely fantastic shop and factory that you can actually have a tour around, and also a nice pizza and coffee shop outside for you just to relax. But it's a fantastic little spot. But yeah, so it's a really good brand, this really good fine quality, and you can see here it's also very good for using as decoratively, very large crystals here. And then yes, of course, your garam masala, and I'm actually going to use this because I need to use it up, but I am going to cover a recipe in the future on how to make garam masala. It's a very good spice blend. You can use it for a curry or even a chai tea even. In terms of this one here, it's ground cassia, ground black pepper, ground cardamom, and then ground clove. However, in the actual book, it actually gives you quite a very different one. It includes coriander seeds, cumin seeds, brown mustard seeds, fennel seeds, chili flakes, but also turmeric, which isn't in this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some of my own spices additionally to that, just to give it some real depth of flavour and some colour. The reason why it's much better to do yourself is actually because you actually grinding those whole spices. You're going to toast them, which is just going to release those essential oils, and then you're going to grind those, and it just gives off those, it releases the oils and the freshness, which hasn't really been oxidized over time. I'm going to have to ask my colleagues at work in R&D to give me the absolute technicalities of that. But yeah, it's much better to do fresh because, you know, it's the flavor profiles are so much better. And I would also argue that it's much more nutritious as well. Don't want to waste what I've got in. So, and also as my colleague Dave explained to me, the reason behind this is because basically you are going to, when you grind those toasted whole spices, you're actually going to release those essential oils, which when you actually do, you can really smell. It's absolutely fantastic. And then what I've started to do now is, in a lot of sort of ottolenghi and sort of Middle Eastern recipes, which calls for cumin and coriander seeds, I'm actually now starting to toast those and grind these naturally, and the flavour is just much more fresh and strong. It's more natural. It's really good. So yeah, please do try and do it yourself. It's really good. So better to buy your spices whole rather than ground. Must last much longer as well. So in terms of equipment, of course, in terms of your preparation, you need either a very good knife, but I've got this Joseph mandolin here, which is fantastic. It's very it's like a multi-device. So I'm just going to dismantle this. It's also great for washing your salad in. Here is the mandolin function. So I'm just going to put this together, and it just slots in there. And just attach this here, and there you go, you have your mandolin, which just be careful because it's really sharp, this. Yeah, so basically all I'm going to do is I'm just going to really thinly slice the cabbage and the red onion and the chili, and then I'm going to marinate it in the salt. So let's get going. And here we have it. So it's actually quite deceiving because I really thought I was going to struggle to get it into it. In fact, it's just over half. So I could have got it into a smaller container really. I do actually have an even bigger one. These are really good from Lakeland because they're actually proper fermentation jars and you can actually release it self-releasing with the gas, so it's never going to explode. Really like this Dymo, which is actually good for doing labels. As you can see here, I've just applied one here. Can't wait to try this, and then you can allow this to ferment for as long as you want. So yes, really hope you enjoyed this video. Please do subscribe. Videos every fortnight on Tuesdays at 4:30. Also turn on those notifications. Bing! Every fortnight on Tuesdays at 4:30. Important you turn those on so that you get the notifications whenever I release my videos. Also check out my playlist for other fermented recipes, and also cannot wait to cover further recipes from this book. It's absolutely amazing. So take care everyone. Enjoy. And who's a good boy? You can hear Mummy, can you? You're a good boy. You are a good boy, aren't you? Yes. Happy Hungry Hibby. Yes, baby boy. Yes. Get a wee scratch. You're a little bear cub, aren't you? Eh? You're a little bear cub.